Welcome back to the final segment of our final show of Season 8. We have accomplished another year of Garden Talk Radio.
Yeah, we sure have. It's been, it's nice that we can accomplish Season 8.
8, yeah.
And I feel that, we've kind of gotten into our groove for working on the show notes and then working on the interview questions and all of that. So that's
we have told more about how our show operates behind the scenes in the last 6 weeks than we have in the last last 7.5 years.
Maybe we just are at that point now.
Yeah, it's just one of those
industry
things.
Secrets.
Yeah, well, it's not industry. Well, people are not aware of the challenges in which faces a program such as ours, independently funded by sponsors. We're not, some of these shows, fill in the blank of a show that you listen to on, it's a network show that has people in a building that all they do is find sponsors, and it's a national show.
But I think there's some magic to a 7-year thing where whether it's 8 year, but I'm saying that getting past 7 years, then you in relationships, jobs, etc., where you become a professional.
Okay.
So maybe that's what it is that it's like a reflex or habit for us.
Well, yeah, but it's all based on sponsors that you hear on the show that you, the listeners, purchase their products so we can be on the air on your radio station week after week. It's all tied into the companies that pay for the airtime, and if we don't have the companies to pay for the airtime, we don't get on the air. That's how that works. So let's before we get into a whole lot of other things, we got a lot of people to thank. We want to thank our Lord and Savior Jesus for allowing us to have the ability to do this, or Yeshua for our Jewish listening friends. I want to thank you, Holly, for being the co-host over there and keeping some of the things together while I'm hitting the buttons and changing screens. And when screens don't change right, then you're able to cut in there and act like nothing's going on while I'm trying to fix problems over here.
Is there anything else you want to thank me for?
I covered a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nothing else? I'm just a good co-host?
You're a good co-host in this atmosphere.
Oh, this atmosphere? Anything else I'm good at?
Yeah, you're a good wife.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're looking for?
Maybe.
Okay.
I just, we'll find out later. Yeah, so there you go. Is it?
Yeah, it's your turn.
It's my turn?
Go ahead, yes. We want to thank the listeners. We want to thank you for listening to the program on your radio station, on your favorite podcast platform, on YouTube, through our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. We see the numbers. We see the reaction from our sponsors. And, that's that. We thank you for listening, because without you, it really is just two people talking in a room and nobody doing anything, nothing on the other end.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate our listeners. That's for sure. I want to say thank you, Joey, for being a good co-host yourself, or whatever your title is.
I'm host. You be co-host.
Oh, okay.
Co-host.
Host.
Yeah, something
host.
like that. Yeah.
You are very driven to keep this going, and I am too. But as you guys may know, or may not know, this is Joey's full-time job, in addition to editing videos and promoting, and
sending it to the right places, and all this other stuff that ties in. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna speak about this. I'm grateful for my full-time income, and my employers laid off half of my coworkers at the end of June, and I was fortunate to keep my position. And so I'm truly, truly grateful to, whether it be, whoever it was or however it happened, that I was able to keep my full-time income, because with something like this, I think you need some sort of additional support than just sponsors. It's good that we can, and we are so grateful for our sponsors, but it's good that we have the old day job to have as some security. So grateful for that. And I'm also just grateful. I have two really good friends who have been very supportive and always been very supportive. One of them you hear in our little commercial breaks.
The lead in and lead out.
Yeah. That's my friend Laura. We've been friends for a long time. And then my other one, who I just refer to as my Chicago BFF and very supportive friend as well. So I'm grateful for that, and just that we can continue to do this, and we have such supportive people in our lives.
With our, with sponsorship, it's we're nearing almost 2,000 companies we reach out to year after year, and we get around 12 to 1,300 no's. And out of those, let's say 1,800 companies, we get about 100 to 150 each year that says, "Don't email us again. Go do yourself and leave us alone," because I go after them until I get an answer. Now, there's times where in the past, and I've got data on every day that I email, how many I emailed, who I emailed, what were the response rate, how many yeses, how many no's, all this other stuff. I got books, and Holly can attest, I've got notebooks from 2019 on, whenever I figured out that's probably what it, and graphs and charts and all this other stuff to kind of see the patterns that develop and how many return and how many don't and all this other stuff. Some years are really good, really easier, and other years are a little more sluggish. And I think this year currently we're kind of in the middle of the sluggish to good response. I mean, there's certain goals in which we personally set forth that we need to accomplish these things and raise this amount by this period in order to get where we need to be by the time so we can pay the airtime. So a lot of faith in that aspect, a lot of patience. The stress doesn't fix anything. So you got to have faith and be patient and continue to the grind. And if you think you're done for the day, take a break and then go back and email 10 or 15 or 20 more people in the aspects of where you can prevent, so you don't get things locked out and the internet doesn't like you.
Right. And so, we've definitely touched on the sponsor thing quite a bit, and we are appreciative of our sponsors for sure. And just, again, our listeners, and I don't know what else.
Next year. Let's talk about next year. Season 9, if everything goes as has planned and we can make the funding and all that, we will be leaving two of our networks, or two of our stations, WXAN 103.9 FM out of Ava and KFEQ 680 out of St. Joseph, Missouri. We've just... it's not nothing they've done wrong. It's what we've decided that's best for us. We will be moving to WLOB 1310, 98.3 and 100.5 out of Portland, Maine, and Cool 1450 AM out of Thurmont, Massachusetts will be the replacement of those. And it's not something, every year we kind of see what we want to do, other markets we want to hit, what we can, what the sponsors want to do. So we're moving some things around, and we should be, based on what conversations I've had with the stations, we should be where we need to be on the time frame. Also, we're leaving WPIC 790 over there in Pennsylvania for reasons that will make the show better on our end, not nothing they did. So it's one of those things that it's a business deal. And we've shared a lot of details with you about how this is all working. But we've had 33 guests this year. We had 2 that had things that come up, so we couldn't have them on. And we've covered 70 plus topics throughout the year. And all are available on any podcast platform you want to check out. The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. You can go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, under the Season 8 tab. In addition to, throughout our off-season, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and our hotline, 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-7469, will still be open and available for you to call in and ask your questions.
I do want to also thank, those of you who have called or emailed.
We have some regulars.
Yeah, regulars.
Yeah, which was fine.
Yeah, totally. Called, emailed, sent me messages on social media. If I don't know if I have any coworkers who listen, but any of you all. So I think we really appreciate your questions. Keep them coming. One of our when we interviewed Joe and I interviewed each other last week, one of our questions was, do you ever get sick of being asked gardening questions? We just didn't get to it. And I would say absolutely not. I love the gardening questions. Sometimes, when you're in the drudges.
There's some doozies that we have to do some studying on and reach out to some people and go, hey, what is this? We've never heard of this before.
But when you're in the drudges of doing this, things can get monotonous, and these gardening questions and hearing from our listeners or just people on social media, whatever it may be, is really nice because it reminds you of why you do this. Simplistic, etc. Just like, there's actually somebody on the other side of the radio who is enjoying this and who is getting good information from it, and we continue to enjoy doing that. So we really appreciate your questions, and you can definitely keep them coming, and even in the off season you can email us and whatnot.
And I forget, somebody reached out a couple of weeks ago and asked a question. I don't recall what it was, but it wasn't like an in-garden question, and it was off on one of the social media platforms, and they said, we don't even have a garden, but we really enjoy listening to your program. And we get that not only through you, the listeners, but our stations and our station managers. They hear they're hearing from you as well, that the stations get phone calls about how they like the program, and it really is nice to hear. And if you are listening and you want to be part of this program next year, and you have a company, whether locally in one of our markets or you want a national, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. We can certainly have conversations with you. Gardening, you don't have to have a gardening product in order to be on the program. All of you who are listening are gardeners or listen to our show. You are consumers of everything from cars to tires to underwear to drinking cups. It's not just seed soils and shovels. So many people don't realize that. They think it has to be in this little nook. Oh, we can't because it's not in our wheelhouse. But anyway, so yeah, we've done quite a bit. 8 years. To do, 8 years, that's 200, and I think it's 75 shows is what we've accomplished.
That's a lot. And I feel like the time
280 shows. 8 years, 280 shows.
I feel like, it does feel like 8 years, but at the same time, it also feels like it's just flown by. So, and we've come a long way. We started with just one station, and,
right.
And now we're on
18.
Yeah. And that's definitely something, and I think just together as people, Joey and I have grown over those years, and so that's amazing.
Yeah, a lot of faith involved in all of this. If you're a spiritual person, you understand the significance of what that means. If you are not a spiritual person, it's something that you should look into, even just look into it, whether you agree with it or not. There's significant personal benefits to having that relationship. So with that being said, Holly, what have we learned, I guess, this year rather than just this show?
This year?
Yeah, why not?
Like recording the radio show? Doing the radio show?
The last 35 weeks of the program.
I guess.
We did not go over that question in rehearsal.
I guess for me, planning ahead is good, and I know that I wouldn't say just learn that, but you should also learn this too, because sometimes when we're getting ready to get down to it, you have technical difficulties with the camera equipment, and it makes me a little bit nutty. So,
and not in a good way.
When we have older camera equipment, maybe planning ahead a little bit more might be helpful.
Yeah. Nutty, not in the funny Barney Fife way.
No.
Nutty in the bad way.
But I did learn, I mean, people could probably grow grains in their backyard, but it sounds like there's a lot of grains to be grown in your backyard.
Yeah, there's a lot of heirlooms out there that on the agricultural side just don't exist, or do, but it's not, like I was talking to Bree there, it just doesn't financially make sense, and you're not making money.
What did you learn?
Well, I learned that we talk to gardeners in our guest segment all over the country, and they all have a central focus, and it is don't overthink things. Keep things simple. Whenever you start overthinking things, that's whenever you lose the enjoyment of the gardening. Oh, should I plant that there or should I plant it over here? Well, the sun is a little bit more. You're overthinking it. Gardening is supposed to be a hobby. Most of us who are listening and doing this, we're not doing this on a live and die deal. If we don't make this happen, we can't survive. This is a luxury. This is a disconnect. This is what we do in order to enjoy when we're not doing work.
Right. So what we learned today is brought to us by honeybeehealthy.com. They're serious about the business of bees and helping beekeepers maintain healthy and thriving hives. Whether you're a professional beekeeper or a bee hobbyist, we've got the products to help you maintain a healthy hive. You can go to honeybeehealthy.com, made in the USA. So tune in next year.
Yeah. So for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you very much. And until next year, we'll see you then.